Hey everybody, it's Tim at Broken Dice. Here we have a little preview and a review of my solo wargaming campaign that I've got going on as Rome tries to invade the Iberian Peninsula. So let's take a look back at what's happened up to this point. We'll take a look at what's going to go on next. And let's get into this right now. All right. So what happened in the last game? As you can tell, the Romans won their big battle against the Sesotami, and that would be they're kind of like in the top right corner. I should have marked them a little bit better. On the next map, you'll see it. But this is the map I'm using to help kind of guide my decision making. They were able to win, so they're moving on to the next territory, the IIercavones, and so we got to roll off early on our diplomacy, see what's happening, who gets aid, who doesn't. And since the Romans, I explained it in another video, but I'll go over it here again. They have to roll every time. They don't get like to roll or have any bonuses when they first begin because they are an invader. It's very unlikely they're going to find an awful lot of continued, consistent support. So I gave them kind of a rotating random diplomacy rating where the other tribes have already been rolled for and they're fairly set in stone. And that represents those tribal conflicts, tribal animosities, grudges, that sort of thing that's been going on in tribal societies forever. So they're kind of more fixed. And so unfortunately for the Romans, they were very unlucky this time. They rolled a 1 for their diplomacy rating. So the way diplomacy works, a tribe that is being attacked gets to call for aid from surrounding tribes. Now this is all based upon, I did this randomly. I guess historically we could go back and see what these animosities were, but I didn't want to delve into it that much. So I gave them all random numbers. And so that can represent, close ties, maybe family ties and stuff like that, where, they're very much friendly towards each other. They're cooperating, as it were. Where if they have a really low diplomacy rating, then maybe there's some reasons why. So that's my rationale for it. And so that's how I'm going to stick with it through this campaign. And so with Rome, with their changing fortunes, depending how much money they throw at different tribes and that sort of thing, they may at some point in time have a very good diplomatic rating, but on this turn right now, their diplomatic rating is really low. It's as low as they can get. So we have to go on, and now we're going to decide and see. We made our rolls to find out who's going to get, if the IIercavones could summon some aid, let's say, from their surrounding tribes. Whoops, yeah. But they were able to get some help, but we'll look at that in just a second. Let's talk about, review the methods of conquest. I came up with 6 different battle scenarios. And I rolled off for each territory, kind of depending on its size and, kind of where it's located. So with this territory that I'm working with now, it's so much larger than the first one that I thought it at least have to have 2 more battles than what. So I set it at 1 and then rolled, and I came up with 4 battles to subdue the IIercavones territory. So that being said, we roll off on this table to find out what kind of battle is going to happen. And I rolled a 5, which is reserves, and that's where an ad hoc force is made up. Has to be 4 units minimum, just keeping with the rules of Hail Caesar. But the restriction on this is only the army commander can issue orders to this division. Okay. the way this is going to work out for the Romans this time is that I took the division that took all the casualties in the previous game. I took their standard size units of this. I'm redoing my army, so now they're 16 models strong for a cohort, and so what I'm doing now, and that's a standard size unit. So now I'm splitting them in half. I'm dropping them down to small size units, and so therefore I will have 4 small size units of heavy legionaries in this kind of reserve force. And they're going to start the game off the table, but we're not going to use Hail Caesar's off the table rules where that commander is in charge of that unit, that division. In this, the Army General decides when that unit is deployed, and excuse me, I'm yawning, and how that unit is going to be deployed and used on the battlefield. That sub-commander, unless something happens to the general, he's going to be very what do I want to say? He is going to be very much in the background because of his poor performance in the last battle. So he can join a unit and add what he does to the to one of those small units within his division, but the Army General is the one that will issue the orders for them to come onto the table and where to be deployed and how to deploy. And so that's how that's going to work out in this next battle. All right, so let's get into the diplomacy here. I talked about all the roles. So you can see the circles with the line through them. That's the universal signal sign that something's not happening. So you can see that those surrounding areas did not lend support. And that 1 is a little high on there. That's not it's in the Lusitania area that 1 should be. That one's a little too far to the north. Well, anyway, you got the gist of it. They were only able to get help from the Celt Iberian, and that is because they outrolled the Romans, and so they were able to roll high enough to where they get to bring a whole division in. But like I said in the beginning, and these divisions that show up in this manner are only going to be taking orders from their divisional commander. And if something happens to that divisional commander, these troops will probably just leave the battlefield. So as a player, you kind of would have to have, judgment of how involved you want your guy to be and how early on you want that guy to be involved in the fighting. These guys are, coming to aid. This is not, they like a good fight, but only if there's something in it for them. If it looks like they're going to lose, they may leave the battlefield pretty early. As you can tell here, I got the little Roman flag up there by the Lusitania. That goes to show that they're still subdued. They didn't revolt because of the Romans' minor loss, let's say, in that first battle. They basically, we can say they were unimpressed by the successful IIercavones ambush strategies. They're in a wait and see mode before they try to throw off the yoke of Roman oppression. But the Celt Iberians are sending in that division to help out. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of all plays out. This will all probably be worked through some next week. Should have a video popping towards the end of the week with turn 1. There's a lot of troops on the board. It's going to take a while to play this battle out. But I hope you guys stay in there and enjoy this. I hope it's something that, maybe you can pick some things out if you're doing a campaign of your own. Maybe some of these ideas you can just use yourself. All right. Just kind of an overview of the setup. That's what's going on. And you can see there's an awful lot of angry Iberians on the top of this picture. The Romans look a little thin, but then again, they're Romans, and they have their own advantages. They have added their scorpions to them this time because, in an ambush, I don't see them having time to break out the scorpions and get them all set up. But this is a battle that they knew were coming, and it was bound to happen. So they were ready for it. The extra small division, let's call it, for the Romans, it's sitting off the table right behind the very center cohort that's in the back line. And I think it's going to be a fun game. Here we got some like table level photography. I'm going to try to get more into doing some of that sort of thing where we get close-ups of the models on the table. And you can tell in the background I have one of those backdrops. It's the sky thing, but it's really new, and I'm working like that, trying to get all those creases and folds out of it. I just got it the other day. I'm really excited about using it, but boy, when they fold that thing up and put it in that little bitty package, it's got some heavy creases on it. But that's where we're at right now. The game, I should be rolling some dice for this thing this weekend and through the first part of next week. Get a video set up at the first turn or two, because you know sometimes that first turn there's not a whole lot going on. So we'll see how things play out before I make a dedicated decision about whether I'm going to do one or two videos, or put turn one and turn two on the same video. There may be too much with turn two to do that, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for hanging in there. I hope you enjoy this kind of thing. I know it's really old school. This is a lot of guys do the video things where they just hang a camera up and you see their hands moving back, and you know they go back and forth. I like still pictures, and I like being able to kind of take a moment and explain what's going on and what you're looking at. That being said, that's all for this video. I hope this helps you out. If you haven't seen the other videos, I hope this kind of gets you up to speed and explains some of my madness to you. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you want to start a conversation down in the comments down below, please do that. I always find that very enjoyable. I've got a lot of good positive, let's just say, helpful criticism. I'm not opposed to that whatsoever. If you got some hints or some suggestions, if you look there and say, hey, that doesn't look right, well, there may be an answer for that. But anyway, that's enough for this video. Like I said, next week, coming up, turn one and possibly turn two. So everybody stay safe, stay well, and I will talk at you next time.